Welcome everyone to session number 12. Today I would like to discuss about the data collection method and different questions that we should be considered that in during of the data collections. And these questions are very important that we must consider when we select the data collection methods. So today we will discuss about these 5 questions and a brief a short and brief information about the data collections, that's why we collect data and what's the importance of the data collections and which method has advantages and which method has disadvantages. And we have had discussion on this in the previous lessons, and we have explained all the methods that and their advantages one by one. Today also our number 12 session is belong to step 3. We have completed already step 1, step 2, and now we are in the step 3. The step 3 is in the final stage, and then we will have step 4 and 5 and the final stage. And after completion of these stages, we can prepare a comprehensive plan for our project and monitoring and evaluation departments. So we will discuss this one by one, and today we will discuss on the 5 questions that we must consider in the data collection. Also we will have a brief explanation about data collection methods. As you know that we have many ways to collect data for our indicators, and for this purpose we select different data collection method to have a comprehensive data for our project. And we decided that which method is very positive and it plays significant role in the data collection, and we can collect accurate and reliable data for our indicator and for our project. So for this purpose we will ask some questions from ourselves that and then we will share with teams that why we select this method. So to select a good method and appropriate method for the data collection, for this purpose we should have answer these questions. These questions are what, 5 questions, what, who, how often, by whom, can we do it. So we will explain this one by one. So these questions are very important that we must consider all of them in the selection of data collection method, and it's very important. Therefore, without consideration of these questions, we will not be able to select appropriate method for our data collection. So the first question is what? It means that which type of information we need for our in our project. Or do we need qualitative data, or we need quantitative data? It's very important because we have different data collection method for qualitative data such as interview and focus group, and we have different data collection method for the quantitative data, which is like a survey, observation, desk review, or community-based workshop. So in some cases we have mixed methods, so we can collect qualitative and quantitative data, which is like in the survey we can collect quantitative and qualitative data, and like as observation we can collect qualitative and quantitative data, while in the focus group and interview we cannot collect quantitative data. So for this purpose it's very important that what do we need for our indicators to measure. We need qualitative data or quantitative data. Also, we must consider this during of the data collection, that if we need, for example, personal or very sensitive data, so we plan to collect, for example, qualitative data. For this purpose, we conduct focus group. So in the focus group, we will not be able to collect personal or sensitive data, because focus group is something else. So for this purpose, we refer to interview, and interview is very important and good method that we can collect personal or sensitive data as well, beside of the wide and detailed qualitative data. So it's very important that we should understand that which type of data we need. Is it quantitative or qualitative? So this is the first question. The second question is who. So it's very important that we must understand about our source of data, that who will provide this data for us. And this is one of the side of the topic that we when we collect data, we must consider source of data, and can they provide, for example, data to us. So it's very important when we for example, understand the source of the data, that who will provide this data. So we start analysis, and we are thinking that if we use, for example, like a survey, and more people in that area that we would like to collect data, so there are the education level is too low, so they will not be able to collect appropriate and reliable data for this purpose. That will not, the data will be not valid, and so it's very important to understand that who provide the data, and we will start then our analysis. That we design this form, for example, or the questionnaire, or any other tool for the data collection. Is it complex, or it's written in very simple language, and it's easily understandable to everyone? So this is very important. Which method people refer to that in that area, that we how the data collection, people would like to how face-to-face interview, for example, or they would like surveys, so or they like observation. So which method people like it, the source that they give information to us, or they don't have time. For example, they would like to say that we don't have time. For this purpose, we will refer to focus group to collect data in a very short time, or we can collect, for example, data in a very big community meetings. So it's very important that to understand who provide these informations, and who are the data providers for us. And then we will refer to our data collection method, and we will select appropriate data collection method for our project indicator. The third question is how often. It's very important. If we need, for example, the data in a very short term, and we have very tight deadline, so we can collect data from large people in a community big workshop, or in a meeting, or we can use a focus group, or we can use, for example, survey, observation, any other methods. So this is very important that when we need this data, and beside of this, that we need time, then we will understand that is this expensive or inexpensive, and can we apply this method quickly and we can collect more data in very less time. So these methods will be considered for this purpose because we have a very tight deadline or we have more time, so we will report, for example, to interview. So it's very important that when we need the data. And the second issue that when we, for example, design the project, we have input, output, outcome, and impact level indicators. So for output and input level indicators, we conduct regularly monitoring, which is a part of the process monitoring. For this purpose, we will have data collection maybe daily, weekly, or for example monthly. While for outcome and impact indicators, we have a lot of time. We can collect the data once a year or in 2 years, or at the end, for example, of the project, like as when we have impact level indicators. So these are also very important, and consideration of these indicators allow us to select appropriate method for data collection. So maybe we select, for example, for output level indicators, interview or survey or any other method. And for outcome, we can select, for example, focus group or face-to-face interview or a desk review, or maybe that will be survey. So it's very important that we understand this, that how often we need these data. Also, this is very important that we select appropriate time, at the proper time to collect data, and because in the busy time we cannot collect appropriate and complete data. It's very important. So for this purpose, it's very important to consider this question, that how often we need these informations. Question number 4, by whom? It's very important that who will be collecting the data. For example, we have different member in the team that they collect data. For example, they will be social worker, for example, community mobilizer, field monitor or provincial monitoring officers, and they collect data for us. So for this purpose, we will consider the ability and capacity of our data collectors. For example, can they run this method? For example, when we select, for example, a focus group, so we will have analysis and analytical things that our data collector can manage the focus group, or can they will be a good moderator in interviewer or any other observers, skill observers, and can they manage a large community meeting. So it's very important to understand about the capacity level of our data collectors, about their education, about their language capacity, or they're able to for example, understand about the local language or native language, and have the familiarity with technology. Also, we must have knowledge about our team, that if we collect this data, who will analyze this data. For example, if we don't have a good analyst in our team, so this data will be wasted of time. So for this purpose, it's very important that we will have a good and skillful analyst to analysis this data for us and for the decision making, and it's very important. So by whom, we must consider these questions, and then we will refer to our data collection method. And number 5, sorry, can we do it? It's very important to ask ourselves that can we do it. For example, when we select a focus group, so we will have idea that can we do it? Do we have enough time? Do we have money, expertise? Because it's very important to think people of this to select appropriate methods. Or if we would like to conduct a survey, so do we have enough time to collect the data in a very large survey? Do we have resources, money for transportation, for other facilities? It's very important that we must consider this question, that to assure ourselves from these resources that we have in our hand, because some data collection methods are fairly cheap or inexpensive, but while some methods are very expensive. For example, if we would like to conduct an interview, for this purpose we will hire a skillful moderator interviewer to conduct the interview by very good manner, to have a very good information and collect the for our project and indicators. Also, some method like as in the laboratory measurement that is very fantastic, reliable data, very good data that will be valid from every source. But need for time. It's time consuming. For example, we need for more money and a good laboratory technology. So it's very important. It was a very simple example. For example, we have different data collection methods, like as we have observation. So in observation, we must select a person who will be good observer. Otherwise, if he would not have the skill to do observation, they will use our sources like as useless. So for this purpose, it's very important that we must realize it, that we have enough time, money, and expertise, and then we will select the data collection methods.